Hello and welcome back to MAK Holistic Yoga. So, for our mental health minute today, my cat Naboo, we are going to be talking about something called somatic psychotherapy, otherwise known as somatics or somatic experiencing. So, this is a really amazing form of body centered therapy that encourages the body to reconnect with the nervous system. And so the mind and body can have more of a conversation with one another. So, there's a lot of different ways that we can do this. We can do this through breath awareness, through massage, and through moving meditation, which is what yoga is. It's all of those things. So the idea is that we habitually hold stress and trauma in our bodies. And sometimes you know this because you feel tension in your neck when you're really stressed, or your hips get really, really tight when you're holding on to something. And so we can transform these habits of stress. And that's what's really cool about the brain is that we have the power to change those things and we can re-educate our bodies from being habitually tense to being habitually relaxed. And so that's the goal of today's practice is just to gently start to encourage voluntary conscious control of muscles that maybe have forgotten how to relax. So join me as we do all of those things and hopefully feel really good after this practice. So, coming to the front of your chair, the very edge of your chair, into chair Tadasana. So, to set up for this pose, we're going to want to think, we talked about foundation and other practices. We want to think about our sits bones as our foundation for this entire practice that we're going to spend in our chairs. So, we need to make sure that we have proper alignment even while we're seated, and especially while we're seated. This is going to retrain our bodies into more of an efficient posture. So make sure that your middle toe is lined up with your knee. So there should be a straight line, knee to middle toe. And that's going to bring you about hips width distance apart. And you also want to make sure that your knee and your hip are in line. So if you have kind of shorter legs like mine, you might need to use a block or a book or anything to kind of place underneath your feet. On the other hand, if you have really long legs, you might need to build your seat up by placing a blanket right underneath your sits bones. So go ahead and pause the video. Make sure that your knee and your hip are in line. That's super important because we're going to stay seated this entire time. So once you're in chair Tadasana, go ahead and place your hands underneath your armpits, thumbs to the ceiling. We're going to take a breath balancing pose. So let's go ahead and settle in into this practice, beginning to feel your ribs expand and contract. Feeling your chest inflate, just begin to notice the rhythm of your breath. Becoming aware of where your breath is living in your body today. And try to tune into your nostrils now. So feel the air coming in your nostrils, that cool air, and the warm air as it leaves your nostrils. Maybe closing your eyes or turning your gaze onto your cheeks. And now noticing your right nostril. This is connected to the left side of the brain and the sympathetic nervous system, that stress response, that heating of the body. It's so necessary for us to live our lives and stay safe. So, not changing your breath, but directing your attention into the pathway of your right nostril. And now switching to your left nostril, continuing to feel the breath animate your body, Your left nostril connected to the right side of your brain, that parasympathetic rest and digest function, cooling the body and signaling to the body that it's time to relax. Now actually go ahead and switch your hands. So it's going to feel a little funky, your non-dominant hand in front, but switch and make sure your thumbs are still pointed towards the ceiling. And come back into that space of recognizing the flow of both nostrils. Coming into the space of yoga, of presence, calm, feeling the balance. Noticing that we need both the heating and cooling. And bringing your hands to your knees. Coming into that three-part breath. So expanding belly on the inhale, ribs, chest. And feeling the shoulders melt onto the back in the exhale, chest, ribs, belly. And this time on the inhale, lift your arms above your head. And exhale, allow them to float down. Inhale your arms up and twist to your right. You might find your hand placed on the back side of your thigh, and your back hand might be on your chair. If you're not all the way there, no problem. Just go to wherever feels good. No cranking or straining. And enjoy a breath. Lengthening on the inhale and twisting on the exhale. Just a bit further. Inhale the arms back up to neutral. And exhale, twist to the other side. Enjoying a long, luxurious breath here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. And inhale the arms back up and float the arms to the right side. We'll take that twist one more time on both sides. Linking breath to movement. You don't have to match my movement. Go at your own pace as you find the twist on the other side. Tuning into your own body. As you're moving, becoming aware of the areas that you might just have some tension for whatever reason. Trying not to analyze or judge, but just accept that your body might need a little more care today. So now we're going to actually work on the shoulders and the neck, and these are places that we hold a lot of stress. Oftentimes, many of us are holding the weight of the world on our shoulders. So let's pay some gentle and kind awareness. So hands on your thighs. We're going to tick-tock our shoulders. So bring your right shoulder forward slightly and your left shoulder back. So we're not cranking. There shouldn't be any straining in this whole practice. It should be almost imperceptible movements. So as you inhale, your right shoulder forward, and exhale back to neutral. Let's take it two more times on that side. Inhale, right shoulder forward, and exhale back. I don't know about you, but I have a little bit of crunching. Inhale forward and exhale back, and it feels good just to release that part of my shoulder. Let's take it on the other side. Left shoulder forward and right shoulder a bit back. Inhale that arm bone a bit further forward, and then exhale, coming back to neutral. Two more times, just link breath to movement. Trying that interoception, coming inward into your body and starting to sense what is it that your body needs in this area? And where can you be more kind to this part of our bodies that do so much for us, hold so much for us. And exhale back to neutral. Now bring your right shoulder to meet your right ear. Just shrug it, and you should already start to feeling the lengthening of your left side, of your left neck. Take a long breath. So you're bringing your right shoulder to meet your right ear. Just gently though. You're not squeezing with a lot of effort. This is such a tender part of our bodies. We all know when we get kinks in our necks, no fun. So we want to make sure we're super careful as we move, really mindfully. Bring your left hand into a fist and bring it slowly into the back plane of your body. So just a little bit behind your seat. Should feel a little bit of a deeper stretch. If that becomes too intense, no problem. Just bring it back to your thigh. And let your breath animate this movement. Feel your breath in this part of your neck. And just invite your neck to release. Bringing your hand back to your thigh. Squeeze your right shoulder up to your right ear a little bit more. Bring your head back to center with your shoulder still lifted. And then slowly dissolve that right shoulder. Just take a moment here to check in with your body and notice any differences that you feel on both sides. And of course, we're going to take it to the other side. So to do this, squeeze your left shoulder towards your left earlobe towards your shoulder. And feel the gentle stretch of your right neck, maybe coming into the front of your neck. The front of your neck muscles are one of those muscles that tenses up immediately when you go into a stress response. So for those of us who might live high stress lives, this muscle may have forgotten to relax when they're not stressed. Take your hands into a fist, your right hand that is, and bring it to the back plane of the body, just deepening that stretch. Really tune in here to what feels good. These movements are so slow in somatics, and that's the point. You may be moving in a way that only you can feel. Take one long, luxurious breath, inviting relaxation into those tissues. Bring that oxygen right into the tissues of your neck. And release any tension. And on your exhale, bring your right hand back to your right thigh. And keep your shoulder and ear shrugged together. Slowly bring your head back to neutral, keeping that left shoulder elevated. And on an exhale, allow that shoulder to melt and dissolve down. Taking a moment to check in again. Notice both sides of your body. And now we're going to take cat-cow. So if you are a yoga practitioner, you are used to taking cat-cow, but it's important that we move our bodies in slightly different ways just so that we can kind of create more neural activity. So new synapses fire, and it's really good for our brains to do that. So even if you're familiar with this movement on the ground, pay attention as I guide us through, because it might be slightly different seated. So on your next inhale, roll your shoulders onto your back, shine your chest forward as you take your gaze up towards the ceiling slightly, arching your lower spine. And exhale, roll your shoulders forward as if you were a scared cat, kind of hunching over, exaggerating that hunch at the computer chair that we all know so well. Make sure your hands are on the chair so you can use that as leverage. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Take your gaze up into cat. Inhale. And exhale, shoulders forward into cat. Inhale, cow, one more time. And exhale, cat. So we're starting to invite movement to our middle, our thoracic spine as we move and link breath to movement. So now if you're on blocks, you can go ahead and take your foot off of the block. Let's use our right foot first and begin to roll out your ankles in a clockwise movement. I have a bunch of cracking in this area of my body, so it feels good to roll them out. And then take it to the left and start to roll out counterclockwise. Now, as if you were driving a car and pressing on the gas, point and flex, feeling the lengthening of your arch on the flex, the contracting on the point. Coming back to neutral, take your left foot and let's do the same thing. Rolling out our ankles in a clockwise direction and taking it counterclockwise. Welcoming any cracking, any tension. And point and flex. Driving a car. Just really mindfully. Try to spread out your toes as you flex too. That kind of electrifies the bottom sole of your feet in a really nice way. And come back to neutral. Take your right foot up and just begin to bend your knee and lengthen and straighten. So inhale, bend and hover. Exhale, lengthen and straighten. Take it one more time as we wake up our hip muscles, our leg muscles. Float your leg down, left leg, inhale, hover, and exhale, lengthen. I notice this movement in my hips the most. Where do you notice it today? Check in. All right, so float the legs down, and we're going to begin to engage our deep abs. So we have the outside of our abs, that six-pack muscle that we're all trying to get. But we also have beneath that the core set muscles that really engage our core for our posture, and they're not really visible. So to engage that, we're going to use an S breath. So you might feel kind of silly doing this, but I'm going to encourage you to try anyways. As if you were a slithery snake. On an exhale, make a sound all the way to the bottom of your exhale. Feeling those core set muscles engage. Let's try it one more time. S breath on the exhale. And inhale, the thumb back up. Exhale, and this time, we're going to place our left hand on the back of our head, take a thumbs up with the right, and on the inhale, lengthen, straighten your spine, and exhale, S breath as you twist towards your thumb. Again, not cranking your spine, just coming to the edge of your movement. Inhale the thumb back up. And exhale, twist. Inhale for the last time. Let's exhale, engaging our core with that S breath. And inhale the arm back to center. Switching, so your right hand is just gently cradling the base of your skull. Take a thumbs up on the left side. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Inhale the thumb back to center. And exhale, S breath. Engaging those deep core muscles and emptying out as far as you can. Inhale back to center. Take that inhale, take one more sip to lengthen your spine as we S breath to our last time. Inhale, back to center. Now bring your hands back to your thighs, and we're going to do a little bit of a shoulder release. We talked about that shoulder tension, and this can feel really, really nice. But it's important that you listen carefully because you're going to barely be able to tell what I'm doing. This movement is so tiny, and that's what makes it so effective. So this is called propioneuromuscular facilitation, which is a big fancy, term for when you engage your muscles, contract and then relax, they actually increases the mobility. So I like to think of it as I'm kind of telling my muscles, hey, I can do this. I know usually you don't let me do this, but I can do this. And so this conversation is really important. You're going to bring your right hand to your right cheek and go ahead and find your mobility on, actually, let's actually take our hands back down and let's find the mobility in our neck. So let's start there. I think that's a better way to do it. So bring your gaze all the way that you can over your left shoulder. So we're not cranking. It's really important that you just come to the edge of your mobility and do the same on the other side. Just noticing the mobility of your neck today. Where are you at? Changes day by day. And now that we know the edge of our mobility, bring your gaze to the left. Find that edge and then dial it back about 50%. Now let's place our right palm to our right cheek, just real gently. And on an inhale, press against your cheek. Exhale, release. Now let's take your gaze about 25% of the way. Let's do the same thing. Inhale, pressing gently into your palm. And exhale, release. Now take it about 5% towards your full mobility and press into your palm on the inhale. Important that you link breath. And exhale, release. When we exhale, we tell our bodies to relax. Maybe you have a little bit, maybe you can see a little bit behind you better than you could before. And that would be the PNF effect. So coming back to neutral, real slowly, no rush. Let's do the same thing on the right side. So first finding that 100%, I can't really comfortably move farther than this today. Bringing your left palm to your left cheek, being gentle with your beautiful face. Inhale, dial it back about 50%. Inhale into your palm. And exhale, release. Now dialing it back to about 25%. Inhale, press into your palm. And exhale, release. 5%. Inhale into your palm. Feeling that contraction, and on the exhale, releasing that muscle. Maybe you're noticing as you let your hand gently come back to your thigh that you can see a little bit farther. I hope that's the case. And float your neck slowly, slowly, slowly back to facing forward. All right, so now we're going to be working in our final pose today, eagle pose. So if you are a yogi and you know eagle, once again, just like cat-cow, really focus on these movements. Try not to get into anything automatic because that's when we get into these habitual patterns that we're trying to disrupt. So there are two modifications for this eagle pose. So you can cross your right foot over your left and just keep it here, and that's enough. If you feel like you have more mobility in your hips today, you can go ahead and put your foot on top of your left as if you were in a figure four. And let's try some PNF right here in our hips, another place that we hold a lot of tension throughout our lives. So on the inhale, gently press your knee into your hand. And exhale, release that movement. Inhale, knee into hand, and exhale, release. Beautiful. So now you can take your hands in a big hug. That can feel really good on the back. If you find yourself with more space, you could even wrap into eagle arms. Palms are touching one another. And making sure that your elbows are in line with your chin. Take that deep three-part breath. Belly, ribs, chest, and feeling that wave of exhale as you release the back. That really tender space between your shoulder blades. Imagine that place and invite those tissues to be filled with oxygen on your inhale and to release on your exhale. All right, so let's unwind our arms. And let's take that on the other side. So bring your right foot to the center. Either cross that left foot or bring it all the way up. And if you've leaned back in your chair, it's really important that you stay on the edge of your chair. I just realized I'm kind of in the center. So you want to be towards the front of your chair so that your back is only supported by your strong core. And let's take PNF on this side. So inhale into your palm and exhale, gently release. Inhale into your palm and exhale, release. Inviting some oxygen into those hip muscles can really hold a lot in this part of our bodies. And now let's take the opposite arm in front that you did before and come into either that self-hug, releasing that oxytocin and just all of those hormones of love, or you can wrap around and bring palms together into eagle arms. Flexing your foot, drawing your arm bones, the head of your arm bones back a little bit so your shoulders are really in their sockets. You're not straining them too much. And on the inhale, imagining oxygen flooding your trapezius muscles and that tender area between shoulder blades. And on the exhale, maybe even closing the eyes and visualizing those back body muscles soften and release. Slowly unwind the arms, Hover the leg for a moment and let it gently, softly come down. So now as we move into Shavasana, our final resting pose, I'm going to invite you to actually move back so that your spine is supported by the back of your chair. If you have a bolster, maybe a pillow, that might feel really nice on your low back, but find that neutral, really comfortable place. Roll your shoulders onto your back. And let's come back into that breath balancing pose. So bringing your hands underneath your armpits, thumbs towards the sky. Closing your eyes or turn your gaze towards your cheeks. We do this to just limit information so that we can really increase interoception and go inwards. That's why we close our eyes. Feel your body breathing you. The gentle rise and fall of your inhale and exhale. Turn your attention to your nostrils, breathing in the air evenly through both sides, stilling the fluctuations of the mind, staying in the present moment, resisting the urge to plan out your next activity or conversation. Arriving in a place of feeling settled. And as we close, let me invite this mantra, taking an inhale, repeat inwardly, calm. Exhale, ease. In, out, deep, slow, calm, ease. Wiggling your toes, unwinding your hands, slowly lifting your eyelids as if you were moving through warm, thick honey. Don't take any sudden movements. Just sense and feel the sensations of your balanced body. Bringing hands to heart center. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste.